Hello scrappers and planet lovers, Tin Man here with another video. So I've had several questions from viewers about plug-ins. Should I remove the brass? Are they worth taking apart or leaving them whole? What is plug-in soup? And are there certain techniques that I use to remove the brass? So gonna answer those questions today. The plug-in soup, you can see right here, I have a nice roasting pan full of plug-ins. I actually have 10 pounds of plug-ins here that I've been saving for this experiment. And I do, as many of you know, remove my plug-ends for the brass. Right now, that brass is going for $3.05 a pound. As well, there is a little bit of copper still in this plug-in here that is worth getting as well, because that would be number 2 copper. And you can actually bring these in whole as is. And get about 19 cents a pound. So that is better than nothing. And I do also want to address another comment I got from a viewer about upgrading your appliance wire. This one viewer said that he recently went to a scrapyard and the scrapyard would not give him 60% appliance wire for these cords because it had its plug end in it. So he was downgraded to 40% appliance wire. And there is definitely a big difference between prices. So 40% going for $1.50 a pound, the 60% going for $2.45 a pound. For 60% appliance wire is just the single coated wire. And there are a lot of these. Your fans, a lot of your lamps are going to be the higher value. And I do also want to mention to that viewer, I have been to that scrapyard a number of times in the past, and I have never had that issue. So unfortunately, rules do become a little more strict given the price of copper now. Scrapyards are getting more picky. As well, I do also want to mention a huge factor in that can also be the person working the scales. I've had some that are very picky, some that are more lax. So it does definitely depend on that. But now if prices are that way, yes, you do want to make sure that you remove the plug ends to upgrade this from your 40% to 60%. So here I have right here a different bunch of appliance plug ends, come from all appliances. I am not going to focus on one of these large ones here. These come out of your ovens and your dryers. Huge bit of brass in here. And I do have a separate video showing you how to remove this brass. There's about 7 ounces of yellow brass right here. And again, brass going for $3.05 a pound. And I will include the full breakdown, the link to that video in my description. So if you're interested, go check that out. There are also other plug-ins like this that have the buttons. Some of your air conditioners, dehumidifiers do have these push buttons. I am not going to use one of these in this experiment because it does have screws in it. But I did want to open it up and show you. Look at all that nice brass in there. There are also going to be some pieces of copper as well. So this experiment just deals with your normal plug-ins from vacuum cleaners, dehumidifiers. I have some old Christmas lights, lamps, and all of those items. So what I want to do today is show you some of my techniques. I don't usually make a plug-in soup. I just break them off as is. And all I actually do, just going to do a couple here. I do have a stopwatch here. Going to show you in a minute and a half how many I can do. I have seen a recent video whereby someone has put them into a vise. And that was definitely successful, but it did slow the person down. I actually just use a pair of channel locks or a nice gripping wrench, as well as a pair of side cutters. So gonna use 1.5 minutes here to try this without putting these in the sun or any type of hot water. So here we go. Gonna start, put one in my hand here, 1.5 minutes. Okay, so again, I just grab it with channel locks. Gonna use the side cutters, and I'm just gonna actually just pull it. So start, boom, there's 1 minute and a bit. So there you go, gonna start taking that off there. Just slides off. There's 1, there's 2. Given the age sometimes, unfortunately, there it is. There's that copper piece. So stop talking now. Just gonna focus. Okay, so there you go. Boom, boom, boom. I apologize, I got a plane flying by me right now, trying to see the beautiful Lake Huron. So apologize for that noise. I've also got some some grass cutters, but that's all right. It's a beautiful day. Last one. All right, there we go. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, where we go? 5, 6, 6 in here. 7. So 7 in a minute and a half that I have here. There were a little bit of snags in a couple of them, given the age, but look at the nice copper that comes off of here. That copper is going to be number 2 copper. Going to cut that off. And number 2 copper right now going for $4.37 a pound. Yellow brass as well as coated brass. You do not have to separate these two. They go in the same pile. So $3.05 a pound. So just going to put them in a container here, and I will cut the copper off later. And I will also put in my link the full, or my comment section, the full weights of each one of them, as well as my waste. So unfortunately, now that these do not have any more brass and copper in them, they are garbage. So I will also include the waste factor to that. But a nice little score right there. I have a huge bundle of those. Okay, so I'm going to put that off the side. Now I'm going to try the same experiment with my, started off again, with my plug-in soup. And some people will actually just put that hot water or water, put them soaking in the sun. That does warm them up nicely. I actually have right here a little bit of water that I got from the tea kettle. I was making a tea anyway this morning, so didn't waste the water. Don't have to factor in the electrical or gas to heat this up. So they have been sitting here for a while. Do have to be careful. They can be warm, but just gonna see what I can do here. Again, I got 7 in a minute and a half, just holding on to them. You know, I think the hardest thing, yes, they can get a little tiresome on your wrists, but it's not a lot of force. Okay, so gonna do the same thing here. Don't want to show you my password. All right, so just gonna grab one. Obviously, this, given the water in here, it's gonna be a little heat. It does definitely make them softer. So I'm gonna just put these off to the side here, see what I can do. Again, minute and a half, starting, boom. Okay, so again, just random ones I've pulled out. Definitely softer for sure. Oh, this definitely makes it, there we go. I've had this cooling down a little bit, so I'm okay. But definitely going to make it easier to grab these. Here's an older style yellow one. Going to get a lot more copper. You can see from this method. So plug-in soup. And again, some people have just left it in the sun. You know, I definitely do not want this boiling on a pot in my kitchen. You know, my wife puts up with enough of my mess, so You know, I don't want to give her any more reasons to be frustrated or upset with my mess. Oh, that's it. So, here we go. So look at that. A lot more copper that came out of that. You know, there were some in here that would break off, but I will definitely say with this experiment, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, dropped a couple. 9 and a bit. So I got a couple more done here. A lot easier to do, a lot easier on the wrists. And, you know, for me, because I was already boiling that water, it was, you know, no factoring in of water waste. There is no smell on here too. I have seen some actually, again, boiling in their, or on their stove. I could not imagine the boiling having that plastic being melted, you know, emitting some type of fume. But right now, doesn't smell like mama's cooking, so that's great. No smell here, and very easy for sure on the wrist. So both methods work. You do not have to use the soup method or the hot water if you don't want to, especially if you are removing plugins as you go along. But I do strongly suggest you use a nice pair of channel locks to hold it or grip it, just so it's easier. But if you do have wrist issues or some type of arthritis, having it without the warm water and softening it up is a little bit more repetitive and painful on your wrist. So this does alleviate that pain for sure. And again, I will include in my comment section the full breakdown. It is going to take me just a little bit of time to get these done, but I did want to save these up. I do remove the plugins as I go along, but I did know that I wanted to do a future video on these, so I have been saving them up. So if you are the type that saves them up, again, very easy to do, but well worth your time, because as I mentioned, a lot of number 2 copper in there, as well as coated and yellow brass, are going to be a lot more than I would get for my 19 cents for plugins. And again, it does help if you have your 60% appliance wire, which is the 2-strand, 1 coated of plastic. To upgrade this to 60%, you do have to remove the plugins anyway. So hope you enjoyed that quick experiment. Hopefully that answered some of the questions. But again, great items to scrap for sure, because appliance wire, plugins are everywhere and anywhere in all appliances and electronics. There are, again, some real good beauties like your dryers and stoves. And again, these are also worth getting that copper out for sure. Hope you enjoyed that. Again, I do appreciate all the questions, comments, feedback, as well as working with the scrapping community to help improve techniques, as well as help people reclaim these natural resources, make a little bit of scrap money, and do my part in the environment to help divert this stuff away from the landfill. So again, hope you enjoyed that. Please comment down below, like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Tin Man out.